Hi everyone, and welcome to week 13 of the class. This week we're talking about religion, and I'm going to give you a brief lecture and then also post a 10-minute video about Islam in America. It will help you contextualize the Kite Runner and also understand the conflicts around religion in the US. It's a pretty interesting 10-minute documentary. Now, the book discusses religion as a culture because it has its own rules and norms, and people identify themselves with each other based on religion. But it's important to remember that when sociologists look at a certain religion, they're not evaluating it as a good or bad system, but rather examining how beliefs affect the people who follow that religion. When sociologists talk about the origins of religion, it's less about gods or deities, and more about a social force that unites people. We don't look to spirituality or psychology to understand why people are religious, but rather how the social order or disorder gives rise to religion. Also, religion and politics can get very conflated. So when your book talks about Muslim extremists in 9/11 or the Crusaders in Europe hundreds of years ago, it's really important to remember that these events were not just about religion. And really, religion was second to politics in a lot of these events. Marx, Weber, and Durkheim all had theories about religion, but they differed in how much attention they gave to it. Marx believed that religion was essentially a coping mechanism for people who struggled in life. Durkheim saw religion as more functional within the scope of society's other institutions. But Weber did the most work on religion by far, setting out to do a comparison of the world's major religions and comparing them. The book goes on to discuss secularization, which refers to the decline in the significance of religion in many societies. But this is coupled with resurgence in religiosity in the form of fundamentalism, and in the US we see that with evangelicals and fundamental Christians. Today, one of the most common ways to view religion in America is as a religious economy, or as organizations that are competing with each other for followers. And it's kind of just like any other corporation, like Walmart and Target competing with each other for customers. It's kind of the view of religion as competing for followers. The overview of each religion is not as important. You can skim those sections of the book. But focus on the discussion of globalization, nationalism, and religion at the end. This will come up on the final paper. So for this week's ePortfolio, you will analyze religion in Afghanistan. Again, linking back to the Kite Runner. And you'll be comparing it to the state of religion in one other country of your choice. So if you click on the link there, and I already have it open, this is the Association of Religious Data Archive. So it's a lot of quantitative and qualitative research on religion in every country. So you click on Afghanistan first, and you'll click on religious freedom. And you'll see these different measures, and as you scroll over them, it really details them so that you can get an understanding of exactly what those numbers mean. Make sure you read through that so that you really have an understanding. So it compares the government regulation of religion, social regulation of religion, and government favoritism of religion across Afghanistan, the rest of South Central Asia, and the world. Okay? And it goes on, it has more indicators, it talks about government and religion. It also has all of its citations at the bottom, which is great because you can see where they got these numbers from. So you're going to pick a couple of indicators and spend 3 to 5 sentences describing religious freedom in Afghanistan. Then you'll go back to national profiles and click on a new country of your choice. You can compare it to the United States, you can compare it to a European, a Latin American country, whatever you want to do. But overall, you'll write about 3 to 5 sentences for each country that you compare, so the 2 countries, and then another few sentences that's comparing religion in the 2 countries. Okay, so about 2 to 3 paragraphs total for your ePortfolio. You're going to have a discussion board as always, and also there's a link posted in the announcements, which SPS posted, I didn't post it, but it's a link to the course evaluation, which I would really, really appreciate if you could take the time to do. I'm not sure when the due date is. It says it on the announcement, and I'm going to add it to this week's weekly folder as well. But because I'm an adjunct professor and because I'm still a student, these student reviews really matter. So I would really advise you to please take a couple minutes and fill that out for me. It's an online survey. So next week is going to be Thanksgiving break. And since I could really only give you work for Monday through Wednesday, and that doesn't even get to like the discussion board. So we're just going to have a break for that week. We won't have any readings or assignments due. But I'm going to post the instructions for the final paper at the beginning of the week so that you can start compiling material for that and start writing it up and thinking about how you're going to present it. It's not due until the last day of school, but the earlier you start working on it, the better. So have a great week and a fun Thanksgiving, and if you're traveling for Thanksgiving, be safe.